Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert. Now, what I want to do is just give you a bit of a run through Reuters Xenith and a few of the little quirky ins and outs with the charts, templates, and a few other things. I know it's been a while, and I know a lot of you have actually just sort of signed up. It is your connection to the market, so it's very important you know how to use it and use it effectively, right? You don't be wasting your time trying to work out how to use it. We've got the templates already set up, so it should get you started straight away. And now this video will help you work out, especially with your charting, what different features you can use to improve your charting, as well as find other data. Now, when you sign into the Traders for Traders site, now I'm sort of half logged into the back end here. That's why you can see that stuff at the top. But if you come over to the MyFX Trading Hub, now just click on that or hover over it. You'll come down, you get the drop-down menu of all these different features. Now, if you come down to FX software, you'll come to a page that actually has all the various components, whether it's the trade execution stuff, MT4. What we're looking at is Metastock Xenith. Now, if you go to this page, now Mark's done a great job of setting this up to give you some instructional advice on what it does for you, first and foremost, a bit of an overview. And then, we've got a great deal. We've got a great relationship with Reuters or Metastock, and they know how valuable this tool is. So that's where you get 3 months for $99 when you sign up. So you subscribe to Reuters. That'll take you to the next page. I'll just click on this and just show you what we mean. I think you have to click through. You do actually. It's the $99 product, right? I don't think it's. Oh, here it is down here. This is the one you want to be clicking on, FX data only. You don't need all this extra stuff. Of course, you can get it, but it's going to cost you a little bit extra. Now, so then you click there, you get 3 months for free. Now, the next step, this has been a great job from the team at Metastock actually, has been the download the TFT Xenith templates. Now, you click that and you will download all of my templates, and that'll get you started straight away. Now, the team at Reuters Metastock have also set up a video here on how to use or take you through the installation process, I should say. Now, on this screen, it looks a little bit disjointed. That's because Hunter's screens weren't quite big as mine, and it sort of reconfigured the screens a little bit. But you'll get the same templates, and once you download those, you can reconfigure them to be exactly the same. I use, just so you know too, I use a 27-inch screens, right? So that's the size I've got. Apparently, logistically or ergonomically, that's as good as or as big as you should go for your eyes and lots of stuff. Now, there's a number of tutorials here that you may not be aware of. How to use the economic monitor, link apps, basic charting. Now, some of these things are quite lengthy, and some of the Reuters guys have done these. Now, what I want to do is just give you a bit of overview on how to really navigate around it, right? So that's the website. Now, coming back to my templates. Now, if you if you upload my templates, then you'll get access to all these pages. I've got the majors. I've got the full news covered there as well. I've got detail. These are the old Flex documents that I use to really analyze the currencies on a sort of 4 time frame basis, from hourlies to dailies to weeklies and monthlies. That gives you a good overview perspective of what actually the currencies are doing. If you just stay and look at the hourly, for instance, and this is what the traders at the banks do. This is where they get their entries from, but they do look at the other charts. You can actually get a little bit misled into what's going on. So, like at the moment, the dollar index, if you were just looking at that, you think, well, okay, we're in an uptrend. Okay, and if you come back to the daily and weekly charts, we're far from it. It's still in a downtrend. We are at some critical levels, but that's what that template does. Then I'll go into detail on each specific currency. Obviously, the US dollar, a key one here. Now, once you get a bit more advanced, and I'll show you through this webinar how we can do things, but I've overlaid specific instruments or markets that are relevant to specific currency pairs. You need to be able to do that to really make it easier to find those trades. Now, I've overlaid the 10-year US Treasuries here on the dollar index, and you can see how closely, particularly the last week, I mean, it's been in the news, how closely that's correlating, but I'll show you how to do that. I've got the economic data here. okay, looking very closely at all the major releases, so I don't miss anything on that front. And then I go through the rest of the majors, looking at, say, the Aussie, the Kiwi, and these are the same templates. I usually have the main currency and then the major crosses for that particular pair. So as you go through your major currencies, it makes it very easy. When you isolate a particular trade, say by looking at the majors, right? If you're like, okay, Aussie's got a good setup, or even dollar yen for instance, then you can drill into that currency and really fine tune your decision-making process. Now, up here next to yen, I mean, this is one thing you really want to consider, and I would almost put this, I've got it called Asia at the moment. It's the yen crosses. Now, these are as prominent as the majors themselves. Japan is the leading country for Forex in the world. Okay, there's more Forex traders in Japan than the rest of the world. So you've got to have a lot of respect for that, and an understanding around what these charts are going to do for us. You definitely want to have that up. There's so much money in the yen crosses, it's not funny. All right, then I've got a page here for the yuan, or the Chinese renminbi as it used to be. So we've got data there which is quite relevant to the Aussie and Kiwi in particular, being the biggest importer of products from Australia and New Zealand. Then I've got a general overview of the European page. Okay, gives me all the European data, what's coming out, as well as the major pairs for Europe. And then I drill into the euro, sterling, and Swiss. And then once again in that North American session, coming back to either the dollar or dollar CAD, you can you get an idea of everything that we're actually looking at, right? So, and that's the way you sort of need to have it, right? That's the idea of getting this product up, is to make it easier for yourself. Now, there's also a great page here for central banks, and this is where I get a lot of data in relation to where targets are, what the top indicators are, pretty much for each central bank, and they are a little bit different for different economies. So make sure you have a look at that. Now, let's get into the nitty gritty. So I'll just start with, say, the charts, right? So now, drawing trend lines on charts is very easy. Now, and it's also easy to get rid of them. So if I just single click, left click on that trend line, hit delete, the trend line's gone. Now, if I want to draw a trend line, one of the key features is you want to have this snap to point ticked, right? If you don't have it ticked, I'll show you what happens. So then you see how the cursor just drags around. I've got to try and get on the top of that myself, and then work out where the next level is. Now, that's not bad, right? You can see how it wasn't hard, but once again, if you click on it, you can just hit delete off your keyboard, or right click, and you should be able to delete there as well. If I go down here, I'll just do it the easiest way, which is click on it, delete. Now, if I hit snap to point, when I hit array or anything, see how it follows the top of the line? So you don't have to worry about finding the top. And when you drag it along to the next level, say, for instance, I thought this was the next high, I could hit just left click again, and it connects. And you can see there's a bit of the chart overlapping here. So what you do, just grab a hold of that third point. You can drag it to there, and you've still got overhanging highs. You just drag it to the next high, and there's your trend line, right? So you can start to see there that 78.22 is a bit of a level. In actual fact, as Dean pointed out to me today, there's even a nicer sort of shorter term trend line here around 78.06. All right, so, and that's just your charts. Now, let me just go one step further, and I do this mainly on the daily charts, but I'll just show you how easy it is here, because we've got a nice setup. One thing to make trying to identify trading direction, I covered this in a webinar, I think a week or so ago. You'll find it in the webinar archive. All right, let me just show you where that is actually. So all these webinars, right, if you come up to the archive itself, you'll find all the old webinars here and there. Also, if I come over here to the courses, let me just do two things at once. Once you get past the top ones, you'll find all the old webinar archives. Now, we've done hundreds and hundreds of them. I've just started to put up ones that are quite relevant to what's going on, and you can find those there, as you will this webinar as well. One other area that you can find a lot of the Xenith videos and instructional videos is on the Pro Trader course itself. The second from the bottom, Metastock Xenith news service. Okay, you go into this, you'll start to see how to use a few different things. I'll probably add this video to that section there as well, actually, to be honest. because we have got some upgrades with regards the apps. And now this chart here, up here, right? So if I wanted to get this chart up, actually, let me just start with that. So if you click on the icon at the top, you get access to a whole range of things. It sort of says My Apps. These are the ones I'm using at the moment. But you can actually come through and have a look at various things. So the correlation matrix, which is a great tool. I'll show you where I've got that. Charting. Now, this is where I've got this chart here. If you just click on one of those, it'll come up with a chart. See how it's come up with black? That's the default setting. Now, if I wanted to change my template, I would basically right-click on the chart, and I've actually got these templates already done. Let me just go down here, templates. Actually, I think it might be scheme. All right, open scheme. This is where you can save your settings. Now, it's going to be one of these ones. I think it's the light blue VG. And there you go. See? So once you get your settings, right, for your colors on your charts, go and customize them, because it'll make you feel much warmer and better once you actually get these up yourself. All right, so just that's a good idea to do that. So once again, just right click on there. So once you've got the colors and everything right, correct, what you can do is just go in and save them. Options, you go say scheme, save scheme, and then you just save it as a specific name. And then when you open up any of your charts, you can just put that scheme or template on top, and you'll have your own color themes. That's one thing. Okay, now, one other thing that we use for charting, right? So if you hit that icon at the top here where it's got an arrow, you got reverse arrows, lines, line segment, horizontal. Once again, we've still got the snap to point on. So if I use horizontal, you can actually just click on these things. You can drag it to another level as well. But that's just the easiest feature to draw horizontal lines, especially when you got like a triple top or a big round number or something. But one of the key things that I use it for, now if I see a really big move, actually, let me just show you something which is quite relevant to recent market activity. Now, just looking at this move here in sterling, okay, that's happened yesterday around the Bank of England. Now, this is a good chance. You want to see how far that currency's gone. Now, the info line, right, if you just click on it, it will tell you the high to the low, right? So if I put this up here, so I'll widen that out a touch. Okay, so 5 hours, it's gone up 1.6%, 221 points. Now, that's quite relevant. Now, one thing you have to understand, with the info line, it will go from, you can set it from any high or low on the bars, okay, usually going from the low to the high. It will not go from trend line to trend line, all right? So just be aware of that. I usually use it to see how far a currency's gone, because that's what's quite relevant for me. Okay, so that's the info line. So coming back to the Aussie dollar chart here. Now, one of the things is, if you're trying to work out where currency direction's going, right, you can use this trend channel. Now, this is old school methodology. This used to be massive when they were teaching us in the early 90s on the screens. Guys used to sort of stand by this 100%. So you've got a trend channel here, right? And you can easily see, this makes it easy for you to identify the currency direction. We've obviously got the resistance line, and you can almost see the channel it's in as it moves forward. So, you know, what you can do is you can really shrink this up, and you can see potentially where it can give you levels where you can potentially sort of buy or take profit, as well as back to levels where you should be getting short. But the main feature, okay, if I come back to the tech charts, I use this on the dailies to make it easier for me to work out, you know, all I'm looking for on the daily charts is where's the trend, which way is it going, okay? And I use these trend channels to show me very clearly what's going on. Now that's broken down. It's coming back to test that trend channel at the top here on the dollar index. Not only does it tell you where they're going, it gives you good levels as well when you are in a good trend channel itself. So that's one tool that you can use to make trading easier. All right, so once again, up to that where the rays are, come down to trend channel, and then go for your life. Now, on this chart here, once again, I just want to make sure, I always like to have my charts up to date whenever I look at them. So I'm looking at mainly this level on the top side here, 78.20, or even the a little bit of a shorter term trend line that's just formed. which comes in around 78.06. So we've got two levels on the top side here, which is both of them are quite relevant. All right, so that's your how to draw stuff. Now, with this stochastics, you can just double click on the bottom down here. Now, you can update and change color preferences, a whole range of things here to suit your liking. You can also move where those lines are if you want to make it more specific. Like I've seen traders at the banks actually. See how it's 80-20? These are the two extreme levels where you would say it's overbought or oversold. I've seen traders change that to sort of 90-10. So to really fine tune specific situations where it's really overdone and really oversold or overbought. But I mean, I like to keep it 80-20 because the majority of traders have that. And I'm not looking to be, I don't want to fine tune my analysis. I want to be looking at the markets the same as everyone else. All right, now let's have a look at one thing, as I was explaining here on the dollar index with the overlaying other instruments. Now, I've got dollar yen here, right? So, and I've also got the Nikkei overlaying it. So one thing you can do, let me just double click on this. Oh, cancel. If I just double click, there you go, it sort of highlights it. Now I'll delete this off. Let me just show you the process of adding the Nikkei to this chart. Now, and I've also got the Ichimoku cloud for that matter. So all I've done there, so once you get the bar chart up, you can actually save this Ichimoku template as a general template. So when you come back to the charts or any yen crosses, you can add them. Now I've taken it to another step. I'm very particular. I mean, I spend 28 years in front of the screens. I like to have different colors because I can see things a little bit clearer. So I've actually got specific colors here for the Ichimoku cloud, like green and gold for Australia, sort of white and grey or white and black for New Zealand, purple for Europe, blue and white for the UK, and a bit of an orange and white there for Canada. So I colour-wise, I can visually sort of picture which one I'm on as soon as I look at them. Now, to actually change the colours, it's pretty easy. Okay, if you just double-click on it, you can come over here and change the upper and lower, and that's how you change the colours. Just apply it, and you can change the colours to suit your preferences. Now, let's just come back in here. So if I've got the bar chart up, okay, let me actually just get one of these up. I'll just do it again. So charting, come over here to chart. Okay, so if once again, let me just come in here. So if I right click on this chart, I go down to options. I should be able to go to scheme, open schemes. I think, hopefully I've got the Japanese one. Ichi, let's have a look. I'm just not sure if I've saved the cloud there. Let me just come back over here again. I'll just give it one more crack. No, it's not under templates. Should be under schemes. And let's just try. No, I haven't overlaid I haven't set up the Ichimoku cloud, so I can do that right now actually. So to actually do that, so if I just widen this out, analysis. So what you want to do is insert analysis, right? So Ichimoku can go higher cloud. So if I just go in here and click add, okay, it's actually on there. Now I can go in and change the colors, and this is how the Ichimoku cloud actually looks. Now you'll see my charts are a little bit different because I don't have any of the Tenkan Sen, all these other components in there. Now this is primarily because when I was trained in the 90s in Japan by the senior Japanese traders, they used to take this stuff off. Now if you double click on the cloud, I'll just show you how to get rid of these lines because they can get in the way of things. So what you do is, so you got line 2, line 3, just come down here to line style and make it invisible, right? Line 2, click on line style, invisible. Line 3, invisible. Hit apply, and they've gone. All right. Now, if I wanted to make this a little bit different, I could quickly just click on that. So change it to blue. Oh, I should have changed both of those, but never mind. And let's just go with a bit of a peach. And the same for this one here. And come back to the top. Right. And there you go. colorful, right? I mean, you want to make, if you sit in front of the screen, you want to have the colors you like. So that's the Ichimoku cloud, right? So now, you know, at this very point in time, the Nikkei is impacting the markets very closely. So what you can do is overlay, because the dollar yen, if you've been through the Pro Trader course, you'll understand, well, actually, it's probably the, if I just come back into the Advanced Trader course, you'll find how closely the Nikkei and the dollar yen, how closely they correlate, right? Sometimes the dollar yen drives the Nikkei, and sometimes the Nikkei drives the dollar yen. So you want to have a close look at this. If you're trading the Asian session, you want to, and the equity markets are impacting, this is the course that you really want to go to. It will give you a really good overview of what's going on. All right, so just coming back, so you have a look through that. But so now I want to really get the visual. So I'm going to insert analysis. And what you want is, we're inserting another instrument. So bar, open, high, low. Now, if I go up here, I should have the, because I've been using it, the Nikkei 225. There it is there. Add. Come on. Now, I did that twice. Hopefully that hasn't messed things up. Let me just come back to, actually, or maybe I have actually got the wrong one. Where's my little chart? Let me just come back to that chart. Okay, so yeah, it's the wrong one. So I need the futures one. So if I just go up here, click on this. Actually, let me just come back in and oh, actually, this is a good feature, actually. So you make a mistake. See up here in the top left-hand corner, undo insert analysis. If you make a mistake, just click on that, and it will take you back to the previous step. So if you've deleted the chart, deleted stochastics, deleted your cloud or anything, you can actually go back and actually change that. That's a pretty good thing to do. Now, if I just come back up here, now you can put bonds, you can put anything on top of this. So it's pretty funky. And any equity markets, okay, there it is there. Oh, sorry, I'm just going past it. Okay, so what I'm basically doing is putting the Nikkei on top of this. So now you can see where that relationship is. Now, one other thing, if you're looking to change the time frame from daily, just click on the top here, daily, come back down here to one of the hourlies, and that should adjust both settings. So then we've got a good idea of what's going on here on with the Nikkei and the currency. Now you can see here there's a bit of a gap here in the Nikkei. That's because the market shuts. Okay, like all equity markets, they open 10 a.m. and they shut at 4 p.m. That's the insanity of trading equities, would you believe? So that's where that data sort of comes into play. And you can see here, you'd obviously change the colors because everything's starting to look a bit kooky. But that's how you add overlay data, right? So if I just get rid of that chart. Now, I've done the exact same thing here. Now, dollar CAD and oil, obviously having a very close relationship as well. I've just done the exact same thing. So if you want to overlay, oh, actually, this is a little bit different. This is actually one I should show you because I've inverted it. So what I've got here is I've got bar, open, high, low. I've also got the oil, right? If I add that, you get this, you get the oil on the chart. Now, what you need to do is, because the currency is quoted as US dollar against the CAD, and the relationship is oil and CAD. So to get a clear visual of the relationship, you need to invert oil, or dollar CAD for that matter, to make it, you can see where the correlation sits. Now, the way to do that is, if you come over to the far left-hand side here, left click on the left-hand axis. If you go y-axis, right, and then there's this button here in the middle. You need to click that, right? Invert scale, and that will invert the dollar CAD, the oil price. So then you have that clear visual, and you can see exactly what's going on. You can see how closely these oil and CAD and dollar CAD sort of are. So it's important you know how to invert some of this analysis, because just because the way the currencies are quoted, it may be important to you. So if I just come back here, right, all I've done there is click undo, and I've got my Nikkei back on my chart there that I took off before. Okay, so that's one thing. Now, if you want to change templates around too, just a quick one, you can actually easily just slide them across the top to put them in order. Okay, you may have a different order. If you're in Europe, I would suggest you have the euro and things closer to the front because they will be the pairs that are most relevant to you. All right, so now there's actually a couple of other things here. So once again, coming up to the far left-hand side, this is where you have access to all the various apps. Now, there's a lot of stuff in here. Some of it will be relevant to you, some of it won't. There's things here too that can actually guide you around how to use this service. But you've got news and all these sorts of things. And this is where I've built these pages. Okay, I've got the news page here. I've got another version of it here with breaking news and commodity prices here. But you can go into all sorts of specific markets. And this is where I've also stored or tucked away, I should say, my correlation matrix. So that's another thing, as I mentioned, if you come up to analytics, you get the correlation matrix, you click on that, and it pops up there as well. And you can knock yourself out with that one there as well. Now, what I've done here with this, I've actually set up a couple of lists myself. You can go in there and manage these. So I've created a bunch of lists, particularly this Forex one. So I can actually see with metals, some of the, say, bonds, commodities, and currencies and crosses, what's really correlating with what. Okay, so when I come back to my main list, I've got the currencies at the top, and I can actually see clearer where those correlations are. All right, so now it's a matter of you working out where you want to put all the various components, because there's a lot of features here, and this can help sort of really clear the understanding of where the correlations are coming from at the moment. All right, so that's your sort of charting. Hopefully I've answered a lot of questions. Actually, there's one real good point here. See at the top here, I've got a certain list of instruments. Actually, some of the key features. Now, if you shrink up your chart, right, and you go back, you're trying to find levels here on say, specific pairs, what you want to do is come back and you go, oh, okay, that's great. There's a couple of buttons up here that can really help. One is display best fit. Now, boom, you hit that, it snaps back to exactly where it is. So then you can go back again, right? Now, if you're trying to say, draw a trend line here and you're down here trying to work out where the low is, and you're like, oh, I think that could be it. All right. Oh, and you're like, no. Well, you can just double click on that and move it. But if you want to make sure, see how this little line here, there's a one up here, see that green box, modify zoom area? Come into this, right, and you just zoom in that spot, and you go, oh, look, I've made a mistake here on that low. Boom, you fix that up, right? Now, to make things even easier, just come back up the top, display best fit, click on that, and you're back to where it was, and you've got your trend line drawn there. All right, then you can go back and just make sure there's no other things coming through it. And you're like, yeah, that's good as gold. It's actually broken down through there yesterday. And once again, just come up to display best fit, and you click that, and you're back there again. All right, so that'll save you, I tell you, about 20 minutes each day. Now, if you want to shrink in or expand the tops and bottoms, you can do that as well. And once you've done that, come up to display best fit, click that, and you're back to where you were again. So this is all about making it quicker and easier. Now, one thing at the top here you can do. See, I've got all the necessary things up here that I need, right? So when I come back to the charts, I can actually start to use these main keys because I don't have a whole list of stuff at the top. Now, let me just find some where I don't have it done. Hopefully I've got some. What I want to do is just show you how to adjust. Oh, I think I've probably got it on all of mine. It's just how to adjust the top here. So you've only got a specific list of things on the top. And I am a bit meticulous, and I have adjusted them all. Let me just come back over here. Okay. All right. So what I have to do is I'll just show you what I'm talking about because you won't realize otherwise. Now, what you can do is, so when you go to choose toolbar buttons, which the ones that appear at the top, you usually have a whole bunch of ones that you don't need, right? Just untick them, right? And then have the ones at the top that you do need, right? And then when you go to close out the platform and save it, you'll just have the ones at the top. And this is quite relevant because when I'm looking at, say the majors here, or even the Asian or the yen crosses, I want to be able to use, like if I'm looking at the chart without opening it up, sometimes I just want to have a look where it is, and makes it easier for me to identify, where potential levels are. You want this as quick and as effective as possible, so you can really limit the stuff that you'll use at the top. There's like trade, there's share, there's all sorts of things up there that you don't need. So make sure you take those off. All right. Now, one other thing for new traders, I don't use it a lot because most of the data is irrelevant. If you go down here to charting, it's markets. So just going through here. Okay. While I'm on here, you got economic indicators, countries and regions, right? This is where I get my central bank pages from. If you come down here to countries and regions, right, you go central banks. Okay, you can go through an overview there of each of the central banks, right? Tell you policy rate, prior rate, meeting times, news, all sorts of things, right? This is a page which will open your eyes to the central banks. Now, if you want to get a little bit nitty gritty with them, just double click on one and there it is, right? This is the page, okay? If you come up here to my central bank pages, I've actually got these apps and saved them into a template to make it easier and quicker for me to get them. But you can actually go in here and that's how you get access to the pages. So once you've got that, you can shrink that up and set it up into a page and build a template. Now, of course, you've got US Fed Watch and a few other things, dates of their meetings, or you can just come back here and you can click on any central bank for that matter, whether it's anywhere in the world, not just say the G7, G8, and you can find out exactly what you've got, and that's where you'll find a lot of information about central banks. Right. So once again, that's up the top here: markets, countries, and regions. Monitoring. This is the economic monitor. Click on the economic monitor, and then you can customize that as well to cover specific events, specific countries. That's exactly why, and that's one of my templates at the top. But you can see here it's got all these other countries. What you want to do is go over here and take off the countries that aren't relevant to you. Okay, this button at the top here looks like a bit of a door. Arrow in and out, that'll do that for you. And then you can adjust that as well. That's pretty much it. There was one other portfolio, markets, company, charting. There was one other one I was going to show you there. I can't really see at the moment. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's so many things. The more you use this platform, the better it will be for yourself, right? Because you'll be able to whip around like I am here at the moment. It'll become so familiar to you. You'll be accessing all sorts of things from commodities guides when the commodities are really kicking off. Okay, you want to know what's going on in specific commodities. You can find everything here. Hopefully, our templates will give you the backbone for getting started on Reuters Xenith. And once you've got access to that, as I said, you go through and find the videos. It's on that Metastock page. You can get yourself started, and that's pretty much it. There's always new things I'll find. There's one other thing here too, just before I finish. There's always new things you'll find. It's just a good one, data window, which if you've got trend lines on here, you can hit that data window. It'll show you where your trend line, where it hits on the highs and lows. So if you've got loads of trend lines, you can see where the levels are and where it is sitting on stochastics. It's mid-range there. So you just can click that again and it drops out. If you want to modify chart properties. But that's pretty much it, guys. That probably went a little bit longer than I expected, but hopefully it's helpful, helping you navigate around the platforms. Once you've saved all your templates, you can just go up here and hit save, open workspaces, new workspaces, templates, and you'll see here, if I go and show you all my workspaces, I've been using this for years, so I've got a cartload of stuff in here. But you'll get if you download my templates, you'll get the current ones that you're seeing right now. All right, guys, hopefully that's been helpful for you. If you need any more help, just give me a shout and I'll get this video up as soon as I can. Cheerio, have a great day.